So let me first go over the few things that we're going to be using for this hairstyle. You're going to need a ponytail holder. I also recommend a variety of bobby pins. I'm going to be using these kind, I'm not really sure what they're called, but they're looser. And what's nice about these is you push them in and then you kind of twist it and then push it back into the hairstyle, and it's just good for certain techniques when you're pinning your hair. I also recommend your classic bobby pin. This is got a stronger hold, in my opinion, than the other bobby pin, but you're going to need both. And then third, I recommend, I also don't know what this kind is called really either. I guess I should do my research on bobby pins. But what's nice about this bobby pin is it only has a tip, a bald tip on one end. So the other end it doesn't have one of the little balls. And what's nice about it is you can do it kind of on a top layer of hair and the balls doesn't stick up as much. This is really good when you're wanting to kind of have it more towards the surface of the hair and you need to hold the hair down, but you don't want those other bobby pins sticking out. Anyway, you're going to also need a rat tail comb. I find that will be really important. And then you also need just a regular old brush. Sorry, mine's really nasty, but anyway, you need that. And then the most important part of this hairstyle and what you'll need is something to build volume. I found it's for creating buns. Usually you have the ponytail and you have it go through the hole. You can also make these. You can make them by taking a sock, cutting the tip off, and rolling it up. And I liked this one in particular, and why I purchased one is because there's little loops. It's almost spongy, so bobby pins actually stick straight through it, and that's really good if you're going to use something to build volume rather than looping the hair through it, which is what we'll be doing. Another thing I'll be using is hair extensions. Sorry, these are really ratty, and it's because I don't really use them to make my hair longer. I use them as a filler. I like to kind of ball them up and use them as a sort of bump it, just the same way I use this. But for this hairstyle, I want it all, and I'm going to make my hair huge. I'm also going to use the extensions to cover this up a little bit. So first and foremost, you want to create a ponytail. If you have short bangs, that's great. It'll look awesome with this hairstyle. If you have kind of medium bangs, just a little bit shorter than this, you're not going to be able to pull it back into the ponytail, most likely. I guess if you put really hard work and a lot of hairspray into it, you could. But most likely you're going to have to sweep it to the side and pin it, which would also look amazing. But I think my bangs are just long enough that I'll be able to pull it all back into one very high up ponytail. Now when you're creating the ponytail, I recommend, I have a mirror down here if you wonder what I'm looking at. I recommend envisioning a line that goes from ear to ear across your head. I really don't like for my ponytail to cross that line. It starts to look a little funny at that point. But just right up to the line is where you want the base of the ponytail to be. And I find that it's easier to have my head upside down, and that's what I'm going to do. So first I'm just going to start brushing it all back, just to kind of work it in bit by bit. Bangs. I'm going to tip it upside down, and I'm going to try to get it in this ponytail. Try to round up the hair at that line that I was telling you about, and try to get it as tight as possible. Okay, I'm going to use the ponytail holder, and if you don't have it at the placement that you want at this point, you might not want to worry about it just yet. Kind of get it up and see what you have to work with. This is pretty good, and I actually have it somewhat smooth, but I'm going to want it smoother. If you're seeing things like this from shorter bits, don't worry about that yet. That's what the bobby pins are for. Right now the most important thing is to get all of this sleek and smooth. As this is you could do a messier style, but I don't think that would have as formal results. So at this point you want to use something that will smooth it all down. I'm going to be using professional freezing hairspray because it's all I have. The thing that you really want from it though is just something that will help you smooth it down. You could use a gel, you could use a leave-in conditioner, whatever it is, it's gonna slick down your hair and it's gonna be fine. And then use your rat tail comb to get it as smooth as possible. Again, getting better. And I tied the ponytail as tight as it would go, and that's because with you wanting it to be so slick, it's going to want to bounce out of the ponytail holder unless you tie it very tightly. I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to keep repeating this process until I get the desired results. To the other side. And then this is when the bobby pins that only have one bald tip come in handy. I like to smooth it down as much as possible with a finger or my brush, and use the those bobby pins to smooth down those bumps as close to the ponytail holder as possible, and just go around the whole bit of your hair if you need to. Okay, so that part's done. Now that I look like a crazy person, let's go ahead and work on building our volume. So this is when I like to use some of the extensions. I'm going to use this to wrap around the hairband instead of my own natural hair. You could use your hair, just leave out a part, like say this much, about an inch worth of hair, and that will be wrapped around your ponytail. I want to use as much of this to cover up the volume that I'm going to make with all the add-ins as I can. And I'm going to wrap this around my band and hide the clip part in the back. If you're wondering how I got this to look so much like my own hair, it's because I bought them online blonde and then I dyed them my hair color myself. So as you can see, I have my band wrapped up in this hair. You can take these little bits that stick up now and hide them, or you can do that later. I think I'm just going to wait on that, but I'm going to work on building up a base behind the ponytail that's going to make the majority of the volume, or all of the volume. And until then, I'm going to kind of just get this out of my way. And so first, I'm going to take this, shove it up as close to your ponytail as you can, and then pin it down. I am using those loose bobby pins to pin this part down because they go so wide that they're a little bit easier to stick in there. You want to get this down, I would say, pretty tight. You don't want to hurt yourself with too many bobby pins, because if this is for a wedding, you're going to be wearing this do all day long. But you don't want it to be loosey-goosey when you shake your head. If it's wobbling, that's not good. I'm just going around all of the edge and just taking it and kind of scooping up some hair with this end, and then the foam thing with this end, and just kind of pushing it in against my scalp. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the rest of my extensions. I find the more extensions you have, the better. This is to do two things. One, build up more volume around the foam bit, but also to cover it up just in case, say, the top layer of hair happens to part a little bit. It would be really embarrassing if that was visible. So I'm going to kind of let's see if I can show you what I'm doing here. I'm going to kind of put the clips on one side of it and then just in a messy sort of way bind up the foam and cover the whole thing up. So wedging this in here, and then turn around for just a minute so I can see what I'm doing here. Start to pin these bad boys in. So now I have this excess amount. I'm going to take it and I'm just going to kind of shape it around the bun. And just work it in, hide it up under it or whatever. And what's nice about the foam is you can just pierce right into it. Alright, so I have the foam in. So I'll give you a look at the back. Have the extensions covering the foam donut thing, and I have everything pinned nice and tight. You could hairspray it at this point. I'm not going to hairspray it because I want to use my extensions in the future for other projects. I just make sure it's securely pinned. I'm going to let down this layer. So here's where it gets fun. Separate your ponytail into 2 layers. The top layer, or at least the layer that you leave behind, would be the top layer of your ponytail, so 2 sections. Leave this layer to the side, and I tend to leave that one slightly thinner than the other layer. And then you're going to take this layer and you're going to tease it, and the way you tease this hair is don't try to tangle it, you're just pushing it back against itself rather. And it's kind of, I'm not tangling my hair, it's just pushing the hairs down and fluffing it all up. It's making it so it's not all laying flat. And lay it kind of, what I'm doing here is I'm letting it spread out over the shape. And then I'm going to take it and pull it back as if I were making a ponytail around the shape. So as you can see, it completely covered it, and I'm pinching it back here. Take that pinch of hair that you make and wind it into a tiny itty bitty little ponytail, and then shove it up underneath of itself. Take a bobby pin. Any bobby pin will do in this case, but I do kind of recommend the ones that have 2 balls. And pin it into place. Now you want to pin the sides of this thing down. Looking good. I would say use a little tiny bit of hairspray. Woo! Or a crap ton, whichever. And then try to smooth it down just a little bit, not too much because you don't want to flatten it. So take this layer and you're going to tease it as well, but only a little bit. So just put a little bit on the underside. Do not do it on the top. Okay. Spread it out once again. And try to brush it into place. Yet again, do the same thing again. Twist it and then hide it up underneath and pin it. And as you can see, we're already almost there. So now you just want to check what you've done. I got a little chunk here that's showing up. It's easy, just kind of push it up under, pin it, whatever bobby pin you want, and then secure the edges once again. You don't want anyone to see what's going on underneath. It's a secret. And okay, and we are looking good. Now the final touch, just a little bit of hairspray, yet again a crap ton. That'll do. And if you use your comb again, or your fingers, whichever, just make sure it's all smooth. That there's no little bits coming out, no bobby pins showing, and voila! So there you have it. A formal large bun. So at this point you could leave it as is. Since the band is covered up with hair, you could just leave it like that and it would be great, or you can add some accessories. If it's a little more casual, something like a bow would be cute. You'd have to slide it under this layer, which I'm not going to do, so you can just kind of see there. Or a flower. Tell me that's not cute. Or my favorite, if it's for a wedding or even a prom, you could do a tiara. Just kind of have it go towards the back. There we go. This was actually my wedding tiara that my daddy got me. And that's it for now. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more, go to www.strawberrykoi.com.